Let's just give her the beans. Traction control. These tires must be really poor if I'm spinning the wheels at 45 miles an hour. This week I'm reviewing a car that's already canceled, and it's a 2025. This is the Corolla FX Sedan, and it has been replaced already with a Corolla FX hatchback. So we're going to review this car today, but more importantly, we're going to talk about where Toyota is going with the Corolla. Is this something that we can expect to see? Should you even consider buying a Corolla right now? And this is priced just under $30,000. And I can tell you that a base Camry LE is a better car, infinitely a better car, I should say. If you can find one of these for bargain basement prices, if there are any leftover models, it might be worth considering. So let's get into today's review. The Corolla FX model harkens back to the 80s, the FX16, a little bit before my time, but it's a really cool vehicle if you're able to find one. And if you guys have any memories of the FX, let me know, the original FX hatchback. And here we are under the hood. Oh, heavy steel hood here. This made in Mississippi front wheel drive Corolla has one powertrain. And this trim anyways. This is not the hybrid, this is the 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, 169 horsepower, and I believe around 151 pound-feet of torque. We have a little prop stick there. No dampening on the hood or anything. Pretty basic interior there underneath the hood. Now this has a pretty sporty front lip to it, and we do have fog lights down below. Let's see if we can turn those on. There we go. I had to turn on my parking lights, and then the fog lights down below turned on. Pretty cool. I actually don't mind the front end looks here. We have these FX special 18-inch wheels. We have a unique side skirt. We have a $500 black roof option, which is really hard to see. I believe this is the underground paint color. We have a black spoiler here, blacked out Corolla lettering. No FX badge, that would have been cool. Dual tip exhaust, a nice little diffuser thing in the back. This is blacked out between the rear taillights. The Toyota badge should be blacked out in a model like this. Pretty big trunk. Corolla, do you have a spare tire? I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say no, it's not gonna have a spare tire with these low profile 18-inch wheels, but it does. I'm happy to be wrong. Little donut sitting inside of there. Definitely not a full diameter rear tire, or should I say spare tire in the back. Let's get in the back seat. You know, the shark fin antenna looking pretty good there. But get in the back seat. I do like this gray cloth, the orange stitching on this FX model. There you can see good headroom. There is no sunroof on this model. That might be a deal breaker for some people out there. 2 USB-Cs, no vents in the back. But the Prius doesn't even have vents in the back either. I have really good leg room. Surprisingly, this is set up for me at 6'1". Fold down armrest, not too bad in the back seat. Now just hard touch up here, soft touch down here on the armrest. I wouldn't mind being back here for a while. We do have smart key access here on the front. We have blind spot monitor on this model. Soft touch, thankfully, up in the front on the top of the door. Hard touch here, soft touch, orange stitching. This is a new 10.5-inch screen which debuted on this 2025 Corolla FX. The 26 Corolla FX is a hatchback made in Japan. I do have a nice leather wrap steering wheel, great steering wheel. Pretty basic 7-inch screen here, but I like it. It's easy to work with. You know, with this screen, and I'm gonna have to double check, but I believe that the smaller screen has a volume knob. This does not have a volume knob. They give you a bigger screen. Oh, cool, great. Bigger screen, sticks out of the dash, kind of ugly, but hey, more screen real estate, great. If they take the volume knob away, call me crazy. I would go with no screen at all if I had the option, as long as I get a volume knob. I have to sit here and hold it. I don't want to get copyright striked, but like I have to sit here and hold it or smash it a million times to change the volume. That drives me nuts. Oh my gosh. I have a knob for fan control, great. Knob for temperature, great. And I do have auto climate control, which is pretty decent in here. Obviously, Toyotas, I shouldn't say obviously, but Toyotas typically have really good air conditioning. We have some orange stitching right here. Wireless charger back here. We have different drive modes, which the base LE model does not have, for example, but who cares? I mean, it's not that sporty no matter what you do to this vehicle, okay? These seats are actually really comfortable. They're not the easiest to adjust. You know, I have a lever back here, you know, and then if I wanted to go for, like, the lever half actuates sometimes and doesn't fully clamp down. And then I have the slidey bar on this side. But no power seats, no auto dimming rearview mirror, no dimming side mirrors. I mean, it's a pretty basic interior, but overall this interior is okay to live with. All right, physical climate control goes a long ways nowadays, even though I don't have a volume knob. All right, so let's go ahead and start driving the Corolla FX and talk about why this vehicle was only around for a year and what's next coming for the Corolla, and should you even consider buying a Corolla on the market right now. Now I do have radar, cruise control, lane keep, which is pretty good, I guess. That's all standard on Toyotas nowadays. Okay, I have a B mode. I guess that's for engine braking. Typically you see that in the hybrids. I just got out of a Prius plug-in hybrid and I had a B mode and had different levels of regen braking, but since this is not a hybrid, surprised to see that B mode in here. All right, how does this drive? Well, it's not good. It handles great, you know, it handles better than the LE that I had, but at the cost of ride quality, this is bumpier than the LE, the base model that I drove a few weeks ago, and it costs a lot more money, and the ride quality is worse. I have a lot more vibration coming through the vehicle as a result with these really low profile tires, but it does handle well, I'll give it that. Does it handle as well as an Elantra or Civic? Of course not. As well as a Mazda 3, not quite. So, you know, it just doesn't do anything great. You know, fuel economy, I was getting about 39 miles per gallon before sitting in that parking lot and letting it idle a bit. So gets pretty good fuel economy, but that was all highway driving. On the city, you're not gonna be able to get that sort of fuel economy. What, it's rated 31 in the city, 39 on the highway. I actually saw 39. Unlike the LE, I have auto lights, and I do have intermittent wipers, which is quite nice here. I think this was Toyota's plan all along, to bring the FX back, or at least the naming, to get people familiar with FX, to kind of re-jog their memory, because the FX has been gone from the market for 40 years. So they're like, okay, well, we're gonna bring the FX back, but you know, we're gonna have to maybe make it in Mississippi first before we get our ducks in an order in Japan. This is just my theory, because now for the 26 model year, they canceled this, the Sedan FX, and they brought in the hatchback FX, and it looks cool. Looks way cooler than this sedan does. And you know, I've driven it briefly in Plano at Toyota's headquarters, and it was just as doggy. Like, this powertrain it's not good. I really struggle with it because Toyota's hybrids, especially like the Camry that I talk about so much, like, it's so smooth, instant response, very quiet. This is none of those things, okay? You get good fuel economy here, and that's it, because like, it has a true first gear with this CVT, but it likes to jump out of it as soon as possible, like 10 to 12 miles an hour, jumps out of that true first gear, and then it really drops the RPMs, and there's just no torque or power in order to move the vehicle or accelerate the vehicle. So you're constantly working the gas pedal in here as you're fighting with the CVT and the programming of this vehicle. And so it's just not a sporty experience whatsoever. It's all looks with the FX and no substance. Zero substance here, other than good fuel economy. And that maybe that's all you care about. Maybe you just want a cool-ish looking Corolla or something, and pedal down because it's yellow. Yeah, she's loud. She goes. She'll go when the pedal is all the way down. That's the only time when it goes. The rest of the time you're fighting with it. And it's not a good experience. Like, the Corolla hybrid is infinitely more responsive. In theory, like, it doesn't accelerate 0 to 60 quite as well, but all other times other than full throttle, the Corolla hybrid is a much more enjoyable experience. And you can get all-wheel drive on it. It's smoother, it's quieter, all the above, and you get better fuel economy. All right, especially if you drive a lot city. Well, gosh, just accelerating, it's so, like, I just have to keep burying my foot deeper and deeper and deeper because it just doesn't want to it's just, and then it just immediately drops the revs once I give it like a slight inkling of coasting. It's like, oh, you don't need any power anymore. You never need the power. It has 169 horsepower, looks great on paper. It never gives it to you unless you're pushing the pedal all the way to the floor. It's very frustrating. Anyways, auto brake hold, it doesn't exist in, engine start stop doesn't exist in here because, well, they don't need to achieve, they don't need it to achieve good fuel economy, and that's okay. Idle, this engine is actually pretty smooth at idle. It doesn't shake the car or anything or have an annoying vibration. You just feel like with these wheels, you feel everything through the floor compared to the base LE, which, what did that have, like 16-inch wheels? All right, much thicker tires for a cushier ride. Now I have a red light here and I gotta switch lanes. So what are the brakes like? Let's see if I can accelerate. It's the Taos, good. The Taos isn't going where I'm going, so let's accelerate real quick. Turning's pretty sharp. Yeah, I like the brakes. The brakes are a lot better, have a lot better response than the powertrain, that is for sure. The sound system in here, the 6 speakers, I know it's not like the JBL, but I think it sounds pretty darn good. So well done, Toyota, with the sound system. I didn't mention I have another USB-C under here, little 12-volt accessory, USB-C up here. I probably mentioned Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, but now it's time to talk about, like, hey, what was the purpose of Toyota having this around for a year? Okay, I think it's just, again, rejogging people's memories, bringing FX back into the lineup before they could give it to us in the hatchback. Now, I've driven the hatchback, it looks great, but it drives just like this. Like, it's just as doggy. It's really slow. You're fighting with the transmission the whole time. All right. The FX needs to be the 2-liter hybrid from the Prius. And I understand, like, that is going to raise prices, but at least it has some sort of performance. There's nothing here. You know, you might be saying, Kirk, just get the Prius at that point, because the Prius has a hatchback and the new FX is hatchback only. And if that was a hybrid, then wouldn't that kind of defeat the purpose? I guess so. It's just that this vehicle, I mean, it should have the manual, but Toyota killed the manual in this, on the hatchback, I should say, like in 2021 or 2022. And the FX would be like, the FX would be a perfect candidate to have the manual transmission. All right, but it's just nowhere to be found. All right, they canceled it probably due to take rate reasons and fuel economy reasons. Yes, the manual was slow, but at least it was somewhat fun. And I knew what the engine and the transmission were doing at all times compared to what I have here with this CVT combo. So I think it's cool that Toyota is playing the nostalgia grab with the FX, at least for some people. But yeah, it doesn't need to exist, especially when the Prius exists. And for around the same price as a Prius LE, I know that the FX is better equipped than the Prius, but at least you have a powertrain to show for it with nearly 200 horsepower and about 60 miles per gallon in a base Prius versus the FX, which is just a dog. I'm not even going to head to my office because I already know where this is at in terms of like, should you buy it or not. This is a fire sale only. It's not a pay me to drive. It's close. It's actually pretty close. I really like the comfort's good in here. You know, the AC's cold and the fuel economy's good. It's just the powertrain's so bad. So this kind of gets lumped into that same boat as that Tucson that I drove a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago at this point. And that was good in all areas except such a terrible powertrain. And that's just what I have here with this vehicle with its CVT that fights you every inch of the way. All right. FX, yeah, it's back. That's a lot of Jeeps at one house. Holy crap. I counted 3 Wranglers and a Gladiator, and they had other things besides that. Anyways, yeah, it's a pay me, not a pay me to drive, but it's close. This is a fire sale only. If there are any leftovers left, if they're well below MSRP, get it. Otherwise, get a Corolla hybrid or a Prius or a Camry. You're better off with any other Toyota vehicle other than this FX. I would even take the base LE. Give me a volume knob. I'll take the base LE, save a bunch of money, and I don't have to look like a poser in the meantime with all the flashiness that this vehicle has. Okay. Anyways, I rest my case. Was I too harsh on this vehicle? I mean, Toyota canceled it after a year, so maybe not. Maybe I'm not harsh enough. Let me know in the comments. I love auto brake hold in here, by the way. That's a feature that some luxury cars don't have, by the way. Anyways, let's just give her the beans. Traction control. These tires must be really poor if I'm spinning the wheels at 45 miles an hour. Wow. They're all show and no go, this car. All right, I'm gonna end it there. You know, at least the FX hatchback looks a lot better with the white wheels. You can give that orange paint color. That looks a lot better, but still, I don't see the point of it when you have something like the Prius that has actually decent performance and really good fuel economy and really good driver engagement compared to this thing and this powertrain. At least my hands are happy on this leather-wrapped steering wheel. Have a great day, guys. If you own a Corolla FX, let me know if you like it or not. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.